Good morning. Welcome to Just for Today, a time of eclectic readings, sharing of perspectives, meditation, and prayer. I'm Reverend Rafe Ellis, Senior Minister and Spiritual Leader of the newly joined Columbia and CSL Greater Baltimore communities. Today is March 19th. So this morning, what called to me were these cards, A New Earth, Awakening to Your Life's Purpose, 52 inspirational cards from Eckhart Tolle, author of The Power of Now. And the one that caught my attention this morning is the outside of it. There's the card. It says, Spiritual realization is to see clearly that what I perceive, experience, think, or feel is ultimately not who I am. That I cannot find myself in all those things that continuously pass away. So let me read that one more time. Spiritual realization is to see clearly that what I perceive, experience, think, or feel is ultimately not who I am. That I cannot find myself in all those things that continuously pass away. And how that speaks to me is a reminder of the temporal nature, the impermanence of this physical realm, the limitation of conditioned thinking that as humans we're born into, we're indoctrinated into it. And we're at a time right now where that human thinking, and maybe we've always been in a time where human thinking is shifting. But it's interesting that we seem to have this pattern in the human realm of when we become more open, seems to be an instant pressure to return back to the less open perspectives. We can relate to it as a pendulum. We can relate to it as expansion and contraction. I think it's really saying the same thing, and I think Eckhart Tolle offers us something really simple and yet deep to consider, that spiritual realization is to see clearly that what I perceive, experience, think, or feel is ultimately not who I am. That I cannot find myself in all those things that continuously pass away. We are eternal beings. We are creation. We are a desire of creation to express, to individualize itself, to expand its experience of itself. I think my understanding, and this is just my understanding, and I hope that you are evolving your own understanding, is that creation is already whole, perfect, and complete, and largely as infinite possibility. And so its desire is to express. And that is what we experience, is the newness of creation, is that infinite possibility will continue to expand itself through expression and newness. And as humans, we relate to that as growth. We relate to it as progress. But everything in this physical realm is temporal. I remember growing up learning how to use a rotary phone. Can't find one now. Right? It was here. Then we went to push button. Now we have a phone that you talk to that dials for you. Right? So none of that is who I am. And all of that is creation expressing in newness. Uh, and in those moments when I can get beyond my anchor in the physical realm, it is so amazing to just experience those moments of being, not being anything in particular, but just being. Um, and what I will share with you is in those moments, I also know who everybody is because we are all the same thing expressing. And in those moments where I am able to move beyond the limitations of this physical realm, I know who I am, I know who you are. The separation ceases to exist. The limitations and labels of behaviors and identities ceases to matter. Um, and they are moments of bliss. And that's one reason why, excuse me, it's one reason why I do this, so that we can together create more moments of bliss. So that's what's alive in me. Uh, if you have something to share, I would love to experience your perspective. You can put that in the chat. You can put it in there now. You can put it in there whenever you're watching this. I do cycle back through and check comments as I have time. Admittedly, the busier I am, the less time I have, and that's a good thing. Um, so I'll pause here for just a minute before I go into the meditation. Okay, I'm not seeing anything pop up in the chat. So, meditation, if you're new to meditation, it's just a simple practice of being present with what is. That's how I relate to meditation. I'm certainly no particular master of any type of meditation. I just know by personal experience that stopping, intentionally being present, helps everything in my body and in my mind and in my day go more smoothly. So I do that several times a day, actually. And so this is a 5-minute timed meditation. What I'm going to do is reread the card, and so that we have that fresh and we can take that into the meditation. I invite you to just be present with whatever happens during this next 5 minutes. Here we go. Spiritual realization is to see clearly that what I perceive, experience, think, or feel is ultimately not who I am, and that I cannot find myself in all those things that continuously pass away. And so I joyfully remember, I recollect, I recognize, I recognize, I know again that there is only one power, one presence, one infinite energy, eternal, everywhere present, one omnipresence, one omniscience, one omnipotence, one whole, perfect, and complete creation, expressing in gloriously diverse expressions of itself. And because it is expressing itself, the one thing that is, it is never separate from itself. And while the form of it expressed may be impermanent, the source, the substance of it is quite eternal. And so it expresses from the formless to the form, and then the form releases and returns to the formless again. This is the truth of what I am. An idea, a desire within the infinite to experience itself as this activity that I call my life. In this body I call my body. And in this moment I claim and affirm a renewed understanding that this physical body is a cell in the infinite body. A specialized cell designed to be an individualized expression of the whole, to work in the harmonious operation of the body, never intended to be separate. And so I claim and affirm a renewed experience and understanding of true identity, recognizing that as I grasp my spiritual identity, I grasp all spiritual identity, all being the whole expressing. I claim and affirm that all conditioned thought finds its place in this human operation. And even as I use language to navigate this human experience, I am aware that I am not the limitation of the words I use, that no one is the limitation of the words used, that language is simply that labels are simply that. They are simply navigational tools of an experience. They are not the truth of being. And so just as I use a map to travel, I use language to travel this experience, knowing that there is so much more, refusing to limit the infinite in any of its forms. And as I refuse to limit the infinite, I refuse to limit myself. I refuse to limit any expression of it. to meet creation in that field of unity, in that field of one. And to allow that to penetrate this experience, knowing that in the realization, making real the spiritual and the physical, one and the same, that it is my birthright, it is the birthright of all divine expression to experience the fullness that each expression is, that we all are, right here, right now. That there is no waiting period. And so I heal the mental blocks. I neutralize every thought that impedes my full experience of the spiritual truth of life. And I am grateful. I am grateful that simply declaring that makes it so. And so in alignment with my belief, my commitment, my covenant, I neutralize, I let go of every thought, of every idea, of every conditioned anything that would impede my full realization of spiritual truth. I let it all go. I let go of the human idea, the limitations of how it's supposed to look. And I allow myself to be in awe of how it actually looks. I let go. I step joyously, freely, with abandon into the mystery of life unfolding. I stand on the agency of love and eternality that this spiritual me cannot, never has been, and cannot be harmed. I unleash the unlimited to express. I say yes. Yes, yes to life. Yes. And as I claim this, I claim it for all because there's only one. Ashe. Shalom. Aho. Amen. Amen. And so it is. Namaste.